ॐ ॐ ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्र्यवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ हृदाकाशे सदा भान्तं शान्तमानन्दरूपिणं ज्ञानभानुमहं वन्दे सद्गुरुं सत्यसायिनम् ॐ आदित्याय विद्महे सहस्रकिरणाय धीमहि तन्नः सूर्यः प्रचोदयात् ॐ घृणिसूर्य आदित्य 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 ॐ घृणिसूर्य आदित्यम् ॐ अग्नयो वायवश्चैव एतदस्य परायणं पृच्छामि त्वापरं मृत्युम् अवमं मध्यमञ्चतुं लोकञ्च पुण्यपापानाम् एतत् पृच्छामि सम्प्रति अमुमाहुः परं मृत्युम् पवमानन्तु मध्यमम् अग्निरेवावमो मृत्युः चन्द्रमा आश्चतुरुच्यते ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Offering our collective love at the divine lotus feet of Bhagwan Shri 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 Satya Sai Baba Varu. Let us all be together. Let us all be nourished together. Let us all work together with great vigor. May our studies shine our intellects. May we not hate or contradict each other. Let there be peace, peace, and peace. Good morning, good afternoon. Hari Om, Shalom, Sai Ram, Namaste.
Om Sai Ram.
Everybody, can you hear me okay? Yeah, somebody was saying something.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sai Ram.
Yes, Anna.
Okay. So last week we got introduced to the topic of death and how different types of deaths exist. And there was a question that was raised by the seeker, and the questions relate to the different types of deaths. Pruchhamitva param mrityum avamam madhyamanchatum lokancha punyapapanam etat pruchhami samprati. Pruchhami, I would like to inquire, I would like to ask. how many different types of deaths are there. And the seeker is asking about the 4 types of deaths known as Param, the ultimate, Avamam, the middle one, the lower one, and then there is the Madhyamam, the middle one, and the 4th one, the one that is the lowest form of death. And how do these 4 types of deaths manifest in the world? Based on the actions of the individuals that will either gain merits or sins. Those are the questions. And then the answer is Amumahuhu Param Mrityum. There is that Amum, the one that is above the sun, is the cause of the death, physical death. The middle one, or the second reason, is by the wind or the air. The third one is by the fire, and the 4th type of death is by the moon. As I was describing last class, this is again all symbolic. The physical aspect of the sun, the physicality of the sun, the physical existence of the sun, because of the earth's rotation, causes many days and nights. And as these days and nights, move on in time, that depletes the lifespan of an individual and ultimately is the cause of the death of an individual. And the second one is the lack of life force in the body, movement of the air or the wind in the body, and how that movement happens in the body, you have no control. How the life will leave the body, you have no control. You have no control on anything anyway. To think that you have control on something is the biggest delusion you live in. You have no control over your heartbeat. You have no control on how air leaves your body or life leaves your body. You have no control over anything. But yet you live in this delusion, planning ab infinitum about something that happens in future. Now, don't take all of this like, this is not philosophy, that's the truth. Whether you understand or whether we understand it or not, that is the truth. And during this, the 3rd type of death is the lack of fire in the body. What that means is that the fellow who doesn't have fire in the belly has a very slow death. There is no what we call there is no quest or a thirst to pursue something and to do something with this lifespan. That is what's called ultimate, one of the causes of the death, which is what happens slowly. The energy level to ability to become aware of something that keeps diminishing as you age, or sometimes even without aging. It's nothing to do with age. Age is simply a concept. There are people that are 90-year-old that still go for walks and do things that are purposeful and useful in life. There are people that are very young that are indulging in so many activities of all this nonsense of social media, and they die slowly. What is that? There is no fire in the belly. 3rd is the cause of the fire. 4th is related to the moon. The moon here representing the mind, and the mind that is dull. There is a dullness of the mind. God bless those that undergo these incredible mental diseases, whether it is bipolar or depression or all these mental diseases. You have no control over any of that stuff. How do you bring back to yourself. Now, some of these are timely, some of these are untimely. Apamrityu, mrityu. Those that undergo this apamrityu means that a sudden death that is resulting from non-natural phenomena, accidents or natural calamities, accidents, etc. They are apamrityu, untimely deaths. And there are timely, that means people who live a full lifespan and they're only waiting for death to come. And that is also not a good state of the individual, because the body cannot, especially if you are a person who is so active in your life all along, the mind wants you to do something, but the body doesn't cooperate with it, and it's also actually hell. And so you pray that, my God, let me go, I want to go. I want to leave this useless body and do something better than this. That is after having a complete life, that is planned, that is waiting for death. And even waiting for death, if you keep simply asking, oh, death come to me, you think death is waiting for you for your orders. Nothing like that. There are people that are unbelievable state of physical agony, sometimes in coma for sometimes decades, and people that are living in hospices, etc. They're praying to death, please come and take this life away. So the 4 types of death, and these 4 types of death is what is outlined. And related to the death of the mind is also, I'm not trying to, I'm actually describing as what it is, so that we will at least have some awareness about what death is. Death is something coming to an end. Death does not really mean death of the body only. And Gita Vahini, Bhagavan has given enormous account of knowledge and awareness about death. In fact, if you read Gita Vahini, all those things related to death that Bhagavan has said in Gita Vahini, the fear of death will vanish. And the sorrow associated with somebody close to you dying also will vanish. Because you will immediately realize that you are relating yourself to a body, not to that soul or the jiva or the jivi. And practically speaking, that is what Bhagavan has blessed this body about. The first time it happened in year 2000, I was fortunate to, where I was just about to get into the car to leave for India. My wife runs into the garage. I was getting into the taxi. She puts Gita Vahini in my hand and she says, you please read this on the plane. Huh? How that happens? That means God is sending you somebody to give the message. Huh? And then, lo and behold, the entire flight for 28 hours or so, every page I was reading Gita Vahini. And it was so beautiful that in the same Gita Vahini, which I was going to actually for the final rites of my father, in that book, he has actually underlined some sentences. And at the end of the book, he has written some notes. And it was really so incredible because I was going for this thing, and Bhagavan is actually showing me, look, this person has already gotten the message, and he has summarized all the essence of it at the back of the book. And one of the lines in that, here my father underlined and wrote a beautiful 2 pages commentary on it, was one sentence in Gita Vahini. Manishi batike pratikshanam maranakalanni samskarinchedi kavali. every second of a human life should be spent for a proper death. Huh? So why I'm talking about what is untimely death, what is timely death? Sorry to get into personal stuff here, but the only reason why I pointed out the point of that is for those of you who are either suffering from anything that is untimely or because of the departure of someone close to you, or even not that. Understanding death is more important than understanding life. Understanding, becoming aware of death is more important than becoming aware of the life. Because the life is not under your control. But I am telling you, if you properly tune your mind and intellect, you will have a proper departure from this body and you will never die. Because what is dead is only the body. So this, what happens to this soul after it leaves the body is the next mantra. Almost Garuda Puranam is summarized in Arunaprishna. So I didn't get an opportunity to read the whole Garuda Puranam, but Bhagavan has blessed to go through these beautiful mantra. Please show the thing. Anabhogaf param mrityum.
Anabhogaf param mrityum.
Papa sanyanti sarvada.
Papa sanyanti sarvada.
Abhogastveva sanyanti.
Abhogastveva sanyanti.
Yatra punya kruto janah.
Yatra punya krito janah.
Anabhogaf param mrityum.
Anabhogaf param mrityum. Anabhogaf param mrityum.
Papa sanyanti sarvada.
Papa sanyanti sarvada. Papa sanyanti sarvada.
Abhogastveva sanyanti.
Abhogastveva sanyanti. Abhogastveva sanyanti.
Yatra punya kruto janah.
Yatra punya krito janah. Yatra punya krito janah.
Anabhogaf param mrityum. Papa sanyanti sarvada. Abhogastveva sanyanti. Yatra punya kruto janah.
Anabhogaf param mrityum. Papa sanyanti sarvada. Abhogastveva sanyanti. Yatra punya krito janah.
Anabhogah param mrityum. Papah samyanti sarvada. Abhogah tu eva samyanti yatra punyakritaha janah. These janah, meaning the people that perform papah, actions that result in sin. Sarvada samyanti will always attain param mrityum, the ultimate death. But that death is anabhogah, without any experience of the self. Punyakritah janah, those that perform the meritorious actions, tu eva samyanti, will only attain yatra, that place, abhoga, associated with the self. Anabhoga, abhoga. Two different types of death. They both attain this ultimate death. But those that commit sins will always attain that ultimate death without the experience of the self. And those that do meritorious actions will attain that place associated with the self. So now what is the key point about this? The key point about this is punya, papa, associated with self, not associated with self. Those that are papa, sin, those that create punya, that is associated with merit. So the fundamental question is, who are sinners and who are the ones that are doing meritorious actions? What is an action associated with sin? What is an action that is not associated with sin? What does the word fundamentally mean, sin? Papa, punya. Actions associated with sins, actions that are not associated with sins. The entire process of Sandhyavandanam is this only. Suryaschamanyaschamanyupatayaschamanukutebhyaha papebhyo rakshantam. Papebhyo rakshantam. To protect me from sins. Yadratriat papamakasham. Whatever sins that are committed in the previous night. Every morning you are doing, please protect me from sins, protect me from sins. And if you have the great opportunity, you can do it 3 times in a day. Protect me from sins from night, protect me from sins during the day, protect me from the sins that are associated with the midday, after day, anham, both sides, before noon, afternoon. These are the mantras that we do in Sandhyavandanam. So what is papa, what is punya? What is sin? Ask these questions, huh? Simply don't leave like that. What is sin? If you have committed so many of them and you get infected with some bacteria or something, they'll give you a lot of sins. Erythromycin, azithromycin. Have you looked at those antibiotic names? Mycin. They'll call those medicines. Because of my sins, some bacteria got infected. Azithromycin, erythromycin. So infections are also sins, huh? And for taking care of my sin, you have to take a medicine. Hello? Words, medicine. It sounds the same thing, no? To protect me from my sin, I need a medicine, that which mediates my sin. So what is sin? I won't answer the question. We'll perhaps, if time permits, we'll do it at the end of the class. So those that are committing sins, they will have a death without experience of the self. What is experience of the self? Question again. You have to question. All this is question answers only, no? He asks the question, no? And then he will continue to ask that question. What is the different types of these deaths. He's saying this paramrityu is associated with the death that leads to afterlife without experience of the self, and then this place where you will go to with the experience of the self. Yatra punyakritaha janaha. Tato madhyamamayanti. Okay, you can now chant. Tato madhyamamayanti
Tato madhyamamayanti
chatumagnincha samprati.
chatumagnincha samprati.
Tato madhyamamayanti
Tato madhyamamayanti Tato madhyamamayanti
chatumagnincha samprati.
chatumagnincha samprati chatumagnincha samprati.
Tataha madhyamam ayanti chatum agnim cha samprati. Tataha, the others. Who are the others? The others are a mixture of virtuous actions and non-virtuous actions. Madhyamam. Tataha madhyamam. These are the madhyamam people, the middle class. Middle class. The middle class will thus have samprati, ayanti, will thus attain the middle births. Those are middle deaths. Sorry, not births. It's not railway compartment, okay? So agnim cha tataha agnim and also chatum, fourth state. So it's a balance of, now you see those that have absolutely sinners, absolutely meritorious people, and those that are middle class. They're neither here nor there. So what they will go? They will either go to this middle side, either the Agni or the Chatum, the fourth state. So the others with merits and demerits will find themselves in between the sinners and the virtuous. So what will happen to them? Those will be undergoing a life gripped with diseases during the life itself. And after that, they will either go to hell nor to heaven. Okay. This middle class people. So either be a complete sinner or be completely virtuous. Okay, don't be in between. You choose, have a choice. I go to hell or I go to heaven. But if you are in between, what will happen to you? You will not go neither to those places. There was this beautiful movie that I saw a couple of years ago. It was about the musician and what's that movie? My God, it's a musician that has this afterlife death experience and all of that stuff. My memory is waning. Okay, anyway, it's a very interesting movie on what happens to those people. And all of this is described in detail by Swami in Gita Vahini. So what will happen to them? They will not go to these ultimate places, the ultimate being the hell or the heaven. Even before reaching there, they will be reborn. They will not even cross that barrier to go to hell or heaven. They'll keep reborn. And they'll keep coming and going and coming and going. And what will happen to them? That means they have not hit the target. Punyena punyalokam nayati, papena papam, ubhabhyameva manushalokan gacchati. This is the Prashnopanishad. Swami has written a beautiful this thing called Prashnottara Vahini. It's about Prashnopanishad, questions, all enquiries. And Prashnopanishad also has very beautiful description of Prashnottara Vahini. If you study that, oh my God, I don't know what Swami is doing today, but after I read the Prashnottara Vahini, I was creating a slide about different aspects of the body, the senses, mind, chitta, all these things. Very beautifully he describes which combination of what forms what this body is, as the Sthula Sarira, Sukshma Sarira, Karana Sarira, and all of that stuff. Prashnottara Upanishad, Prashnottara Vahini. And as I was just remembering this, few hours before my father's departure, somehow I called him and he was asking me a question about all these things in a medical knowledge type. And then I was explaining, oh, it's interesting you asked me this. Yesterday only I finished this Prashnottara Vahini reading and I created this slide because his question was, my father's question was medically, how is coma defined? That was the question. Medically, how coma is defined. Because there is a vacant state, there is this state, deep. But what is coma as a state? What happens to the individual in the coma state? So I was telling him this is what happens, and this is what Swami described in Prashnottara Vahini. And he requested me, can you please send me that slide? I want to read that. I said, it's not my slide, it is Swami's this thing. But first, I will also mail him a copy of the same thing, thanking me for making me aware of all the different states of my presence, how we are present. So I created a slide, I created a letter, one I sent to Swami, the other I sent to my father. That night he got stroke and he went into coma and passed the next day. So he was prepared to understand what the state of coma is before he went into the state of coma. That is the grace of Bhagavan, nothing more than that. So why I am going into that? I don't know why I got into that. Oh, Prashnottara Vahini. This Prashnottara Upanishad actually describes all these different states of combination of our body, mind, senses, complex, and what exists in what state. What level of senses are present in a dream state? Oh my God. I'm telling you, that's why I was saying you are so blessed to know more about death than about life. Then what happens? You are prepared. When that state comes, oh my God, this state has come. Otherwise, how would an individual ask what is medically, what it is called coma? So those prepare yourself better. And long story short, in this Prashnottara Vahini, or in the Prashna, there's also an Upanishad called Prashnottara Upanishad, Prashnopanishad, not Uttara, Prashnopanishad. Punyena Punyalokanayati, Papena Papam, Ubhabhyameva Manushyalokam. That's why we are called Martyas. We are neither here nor there. Arey, that is very beautiful. Huh? That means it gives you a choice. So you are given a choice. So then the next question the seeker is asking, Pruchhamitva papakritaha.
Prachhamitva papakritaha.
Yatra yatayate yamaha.
Yatra yatayate yamaha.
Tvannastad brahman prabruhi.
Tvannastad brahman prabruhi.
Yadi vetha sato gruhan.
Yadi vetha sato grahan.
So the seeker is asking these questions. Pruchhamitva tva papakritah.
पृच्छामि त्वा पापकृतः पृच्छामि त्वा पापकृतः
यत्र यातयते यमः
यत्र यातयते यमा य- य- यत्र यातयते यमः ॐ यत्र यातयते यमः
त्वन्नस्तद्ब्रह्मन् प्रब्रूहि
त्वन्नस्तद्ब्रह्मन् प्रब्रूहि त्वन्नस्तद्ब्रह्मन् प्रब्रूहि
यदि वेत्थासतो गृहान्
यदि वेत्थासतो गृहान् यदि वेत्थासतो गृहान्
पृच्छामि त्वा पापकृतः यत्र यातयते यमः त्वन्नस्तद्ब्रह्मन् प्रब्रूहि यदि वेत्थासतो गृहान्
पृच्छामि त्वा पापकृतः यत्र यातयते यमः त्वन्नस्तद्ब्रह्मन् प्रब्रूहि यदि वेत्थासतो गृहान्
पृच्छामि त्वा पापकृतः यत्र यातयते यमः त्वं नः तत् ब्रह्मन् प्रब्रूहि यदि वेत्था असतः गृहान् यदि वेत्था असतो there is avagraha there vetha is and followed by asataha vetha is dirgham and so asataha therefore it becomes avagraha there pruchhami tva brahman O Brahman I wish to ask you about papakritaha those that commit the sins yatra where does yamaha yamadharmaraja yatayate subject them to suffering where does I would like to ask you where does this yamadharmaraja subject these people that commit the sins to suffering tvam naha tat prabruhi tvam you elaborate tat that matter naha for our prabruhi please speak about that elaborate bruhi means speak prabruhi means elaborate extensively so that we understand yadi vetha also what do you know about asatah gruhan the places of these sinners if you know all these things you will fundamentally ask the question what is a sin how do I avoid those sins that is the reason why he is asking somebody raised their hand
You have raised up. You have raised it yourself.
What is this? I'm committing actions without my knowledge. It's called artificial intelligence. Maybe I did like this and then it recognized as raising. Oh, now you see, it said hi to all of you. Okay. All right. So, Prichhamitva Papakritah Yatra Yatayate Yamaha Tvannastad Brahman Prabruhi Yadi Vetha Sato Grihan. And those questions, with that questions, the mantra number 30 comes to conclusion. Then mantra number 31. Kashyapadudita Suryah
Kashyapaduditas Suryaha
Papan Nirghnanti Sarvada.
Papan Nirghnanti Sarvada.
There's a double N. Papan Nirghnanti Sarvada.
Papan Nirghnanti Sarvada.
Yes. Rodasyorantardesheshu
Rodasyorantardesheshu
Tatra Nyashyante Vasavaih.
Tatra nasyante
Tatra Nyasyante Nya. Tatra Nyasyante Vasavaih.
Tatra Nyasyante Vasavaihi.
So if you just take a little pause there, only single that light rectangle, then you will be able to Tatranyashyante Vasavaih.
Tatranyashyante Vasavaihi.
Very good. Now you know how those holdings help proper pronunciation. Tatranyashyante Vasavaih.
Tatranyashyante Vasavaihi.
Kasyapādudita Suryah
Kashyapadudita Suryaha Kashyapadudita Suryaha.
That is, Su should be double holding. Rya should be double holding. Kasyapādudita Suryah
Kashyapadudita Suryaha Kashyapadudita Suryaha
Papan Nirghnanti Sarvada.
Papan Nirghnanti Sarvada. Papan Nirghnanti Sarvada.
Rodasyorantardesheshu
Rodasyorantardesheshu Rodasyorantardesheshu
Tatranyashyante Vasavaih.
Tatranyashyante Vasavaihi. Tatranyashyante Vasavaihi.
Kasyapādudita Suryah Papan Nirghnanti Sarvada. Rodasyorantardesheshu Tatranyashyante Vasavaih.
Kashyapadudita Suryaha Papan Nirghnanti Sarvada. Rodasyorantardesheshu Tatranyashyante Vasavaihi. Uncle, you're muted. You muted.
See, now even Zoom is not having me have any control over it. So what is happening here? Kashyapat Uditah Suryah. Kashyapat Uditah Suryah. 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 What are the Surya? The 7 suns. Arogo, Brajaf, Pataraf, Patanga, Swadnaro, Jyotishiman, Vibhasa. Those are the 7 suns. Uditah, they are born or they arise from, in fact, Udita is, they arise from Kashyapat, from Kashyapa. Nirghnanti Sarvada. Nirghnanti means punish. Ghanaha. Nirghnanti. They are the ones that punish papan, the sinners, sarvada, always. It is these 7 sons that are punishing these sinners. Rodasyoh antardesheshu. Because he asked, no, where, which place? The place is Rodasyaha antaha desheshu. Means in the space between the earth and heavens. Those punished sinners, nyasyante, are placed tatra, in those places, vasavai, by those sun rays. Oh my God. Now this is all very deep subject of knowledge in the context of Uttarayanam, Dakshinayanam, and all the Uttara, what happens if you die in the period of Uttarayanam, what happens if you die in the period of Dakshinayanam, means the time between Chaitra Masa to the Bhadrapada Masa, from the spring season to the rainy season, that's Uttarayanam. And after that will be the time of Dakshinayanam. And death during those periods, how the sun's rays are responsible for taking the jivi into different places. This topic, we can just spend a lot of time. I will be reiterating the whole Gita Vahini. So you better read Gita Vahini, where Bhagavan describes what is Uttarayana Punyakalam, Dakshinayana Punyakalam. This is the reason why Acharya Bhishma waits for the Uttarayana Punyakalam, because the sun's rays will take the jiva to different places, and depending upon their karmas, these Suryas here, not the physical sun that we are talking about, this is all internal. Rodasyaha antardesheshu tatra nisyante vasavaihe. Symbolically or spiritually, what this means is, those that do not come to completion with their own lives. You have to come to completion with your own life. What happens during the period of pre-retirement and post-retirement? Pre-retirement is all learning and being a slave for some company to earn a livelihood. Post-retirement is unlearning, so that you will become detached from all bondages, so that you can fly free. I'm sorry, what I'm telling myself, I'm talking to myself in Telugu. If you understand this, that is enough. How long you want to sweat for a stupid company and continue to pursue? I'm not talking to any individual here. Please don't take anything personally. And after that, the fellow wants to be a consultant, this tent, that tent. Why you want to be in all these tents? Get out of the tent. Be a free bird. Do the work that actually gives a real solid purpose of your life. About yourself, not about anybody else. So then what happens if you don't have completion with your own life? That means you have what they call the bucket list. Huh? Create, after retirement, you have to create a bucket list. These are all the things I need to really do so that I can come to completion with my life. If you don't come to completion with that life, guaranteed you will not go from this space that is between the earth and heaven. Rodasyaha antardesheshu. That means you have gotten caught up in a space. You have gotten caught up in a space that is neither the earth nor the heaven, neither here nor there. You are in this Trishanku place, Trishanku space. Means he got kicked up, but then it has to come back. It has to come back. It has to come back. That is what symbolically all this means. Have you come to completion with everything? What to completion with? Not after retirement. If you are blessed and have the grace of Bhagavan, every day you will come to completion with your life. Every second you will have completion with your life. That means what? You will not accumulate any baggage whatsoever. And when you accumulate this baggage, you are carrying this baggage. And I'm sorry, even for an aeroplane, second baggage costs $200. And imagine how many bags you are carrying on this soul. And you have to pay price for it, no? Hello, you're traveling from earth to heaven. No free bags. What will happen? Hey, too much baggage, Oh, I don't have money to pay, sir. Okay, sorry, you can't go with your bags. Stay back here. Or we will only take you one bag. And then what will you do with the rest of the bag? You will come back to collect the rest of the bags. Hello. You will be coming back. You will be coming back and back and back. It's a pain because this baggage you can't leave behind. The aeroplane won't depart. Unidentified baggage. So, brothers and sisters, that is what that means. Rodasyor antardesheshu tatra nesyante vasavai. You have to come to completion with every bloody action, every bloody thought, every bloody word you have spoken in your life. Completion with that. If you don't come to completion with that, sorry, you can't board the flight. Even if you want to pay for extra baggage, they won't let you board the flight. You can't depart. Therefore, what you have to do, live until you come to complete completion with everything you have done. To do that after retirement will be a torturous process. Because by the time you come to the age of whatever, in this country, I believe 65 or whatever, but you can choose like this body has done. And then you have to spend the time recollecting everything that has happened in your 60 years of life or 65 years of life. It's not practically possible. So because it's not practically possible to do that, every day you have to come to completion with that. Every noon you have to come to completion with that. And that is what is called Sandhya Vandana. How not saying the mantra? In the mantra it says, whatever thoughts I had, whatever actions I did, wherever I have went to gather food for my stomach, all these actions that I have done, that have separated myself from you, and therefore I have to completion with it, and therefore I'm coming to completion with it. That's why you're offering the Argham to Surya. Now you understand how Surya is connected to the sins. Papan nirghranti sarvada. Kashyapat udita Surya. Papan nirghranti sarvada. Rodasyor antardesheshu. Tatra nyasyante vasavai. And if those of you who are reading the transcripts thinking that they're complete, I'm sorry. It is impossible for me to put all this into a transcript. So reading a transcript is like reading an abstract. But if you really want to know materials, methods, results, and all of that stuff, you have to listen to the class. Otherwise, you won't understand. Every moment of life is to come to completion with everything that you have done. And when that happens, and when that does not happen, what will happen? That is the next set of mantras. If you have not come to completion, what will happen? This is what the seeker is asking the Rishi. Te sharirah prapadyante.
Te shariraः prapadyante.
Yatha punyasya karmanaha.
Yatha punyasya karmanah.
Apanya padakeshasaha.
Apanyapad keshasaha.
Tatra te yonija janah.
Tatra te yonija janaah.
Let's look at that 4 lines. Te sharirah prapadyante.
Te shariraः prapadyante. Te shariraः prapadyante.
Yatha punyasya karmanaha.
Yatha punyasya karmanah. Yatha punyasya karmanah.
Apanyapadakesasaha.
Apanyapadakesasaha. Apanyapadakesasaha.
Tatra te yonija janah.
Tatra te yonija janaah. Tatra te yonija janaah.
Te sharirah prapadyante. Yatha punyasya karmanaha. Apanyapadakesasaha. Tatra te yonija janah.
Te shariraः prapadyante. Yatha punyasya karmanah. Apanyapadakesasaha. Tatra te yonija janaah.
Okay, there are a couple of avagrahas there, so that we have to understand the mantra properly. So the first one is te asharirah prapadyante, because there is a avagrahan there that is meaning asharirah prapadyante. Te means those sinners. Asharirah prapadyante, they will attain incomplete bodies. Te asharirah prapadyante. They attain incomplete bodies. Yatha apunyasya karmanaha. According to their apunyasya, according to their non-virtuous actions, according to their non-virtuous actions, they attain incomplete bodies. What are incomplete bodies? Apanya, pada, keshasaha, with incomplete hands, feet, hair, and so on. Those are incomplete bodies. Desangularized, all those things. And then what will happen to them? Tatra, henceforth, te janah those people, ayonijah, they will not be born either animals or humans. Yo Rama, this is too much, yeah? This is too much. Hey, now if you know what will happen to you with your thoughts, words, and actions, you will live a proper life that is ready for a proper death. Can you imagine right now in this point of view, you are learning this, te asharira prapajyante yatha apunyasya karmanaha apanyapadakesasaha tatra tehe ayonijah janah. So there is also another avagraha there. Tatra te ayonijah janah. They will not have a proper birth also, but according to their non-virtuous actions and the results of those non-virtuous actions, they will come back and be born with incomplete bodies. I think the next two lines will complete this mantra. We'll complete that and then close for today. Mritva punarmrityumapadyante.
मृत्वा पुनर्मृत्युमापद्यन्ते
Adyamana swakarmabhihi.
अद्यमाना स्वकर्मभिः
Mritva punarmrityumapadyante.
मृत्वा पुनर्मृत्युमापद्यन्ते ॐ मृत्वा पुनर्मृत्युमापद्यन्ते
Adyamana swakarmabhihi.
अद्यमाना स्वकर्मभिः अद्यमाना स्वकर्मभिः
Mritva punarmrityumapadyante. Adyamana swakarmabhihi.
मृत्वा पुनर्मृत्युमापद्यन्ते अद्यमाना स्वकर्मभिः मृत्वा पुनर्मृत्युमापद्यन्ते अद्यमाना स्वकर्मभिः
Mritva punaha mrityum apadyante. Mritva, they die. Punaha, and also mrityum, they die. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani, jathare shayanam. Iha samsare, bahudustare, krupaya pare, pahi murare. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Moodhamate, Samprapte, Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati, Dukkrun Karane. What an incredible composition by Bhagavan Shankara, Adi Shankara. That is what is being said here. You die, punaha, you die again. You keep coming and keep dying. The sinners, mritva, they die, punaha, and again, apadyante, they reach mrityum, death, adyamanah, consumed by swakarmabhihi, by their own actions. Mritva punarmrityum apadyante, adyamana swakarmabhihi. Consumed by their own actions, by our own actions. We commit these sins, either knowingly or unknowingly. It doesn't even matter whether you know that it is a sin or not. No question at all. Then what will happen? If you know, you will not commit again. It's not like going to a pastor every Sunday and then telling him, I committed all these sins. You come out of the bloody pastor and you commit the sins again. If you know that you committed the sins again, why would you ever have to go back to the pastor again? Because God saves the sinners. It's all complete nonsense. If you commit a sin and you are aware of a sin, you will not commit again. Because if you are aware of what it will do to you, next time, even before you do that sin, you will stop at the thought itself. So, mrutva punarmrityum apadyante adyamana swakarma bhihi. That's the conclusion of the 31st mantra. And the next mantra also continues about this theme of death. The essence of what this Garuda Purana is. Essence of Garuda Purana is an elaboration of what is summarized here in 3-4 Panchatis. Very beautifully summarized. It's deeply embedded in this entire thing of action and reaction. Action and reaction. Those religions that do not believe in this thing called action leads to reaction are denying the law of physics, that every time you throw a ball at a wall, it will come back. Like Newton has said, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. In fact, it is not just about reaction, it is also about reflection and resound. We only stopped at action, but there is also aspect about reflection and resound. So in these mantras, what is being very beautifully laid out is the concept of papa, punya, merit, demerits, or sins and virtuous actions. How do they result in creating these impressions and all these things that will lead, that would determine or write the script for what is going to happen next? So what will you have to do? Hello, what you have to do? You have to therefore lead a life that does not result in a future script. You understand? How do I? You have to lead a life that does not result in a script for your future life. That means what? Death means coming to completion with something. You come to completion with that aspect so that there is no next script to live. Adyamana swakarma bhihi. You are writing your own script for the next life based on your actions here and now. That is the incredible thing. Then what is this life, sir? How do I lead a life like that? It's a very important question. For those of you who have to leave, you can leave, and I will take up that question after the Shama Prarthana and the Om Yadakshapada Prashtam Shama.
ॐ यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं तु यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव नारायण नमोऽस्तु ते विसर्गबिन्दुमात्राणि पदपादाक्षराणि च न्यूनानि चातिरिक्तानि क्षमस्व साईश्वर अपराधसहस्राणि क्रियन्ते हर्निशं मया दासोऽयमिति मां मत्वा क्षमस्व साईश्वर अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं मम तस्मात् कारुण्यभावेन रक्ष रक्ष साईश्वर हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्री साईश्वरार्पणमस्तु।
Okay, so let's see if there are any questions. Okay. I think the question about untimely death I already addressed. Based on individual tendencies, it might take a few births to stop thinking sinful thoughts. Is that why we need a pastor to guide us through our repeated transgressions? Yeah, that is true. Yeah, every time when we do sankalpam in doing pujas, what is the very first line we say? What is the very first line we say, Prabhat? When you do sankalpam? Mama?
Duritakshayatvara.
Samasta Duritakshayatvara. Mama Upatta. Duritakshayatvara. Upatta Duritam. Duritam means all these past impressions and current impressions, everything. In order associated with this mind, body, and the senses complex. That is what you are defining as self anyway. Mama Upatta. Samasta Duritakshayatvara. In order to decrease or eliminate all those things, I am doing this puja, I am doing this worship, I am doing this ritual, I am doing this, I am doing that. So whatever you are doing is to erase the previous impressions. Unless those are erased, then the sun won't shine in you, because this water is muddled, this water is impure, this water is shaky, this water cannot reflect the sun. So, Mama Upatta Samasta Dhritakshayadvara Sri Parameshwara Prichyardham Pratas Sandhya Mupashishye. I am doing this Pratas Sandhya. That's the very first karma you are doing in the morning. So, the question about the pastor, sinful thoughts and all of that stuff, yes, you acknowledge you have committed a sin. The moment you acknowledge, you have to forgive yourself about that and move on in the context of what? Not doing it again. That's my point. You keep going to Tirupati and you keep putting 1 lakh rupees in the hundi. You come down and you do corruption that gives you 10 lakhs of rupees. And then you are bargaining with God. Next time you give me 20 lakhs, I will increase your quota to 2 lakhs. Every 10% of my sins I am giving back to you. This God is saying, hey, stupid fellow, why are you giving this money that is attained through committing sins? And that money is sinful money. It's not charity anymore. It is sinful money. God doesn't even need your bloody money. So that if the pastor really guides you properly, the pastor will tell you what to really do in order not to commit the sin. If the pastor knows that, it will be very, very beautiful day. Because the problem is not with the prophecy, the problem is with the prophet. If the prophets really illuminate people with what the scriptures are saying, the world will not have any religions. The reason why these religions exist is because of the selfishness of the pastors and the prophets. Erase that first. I'm sorry, I'm being very, very direct. It's not to hurt. It's not just about one religion or two religions. Even in Hinduism, there are these ignorant people that call only Vishnu as God and call all other people sinners if they don't believe in Vishnu. So they are equally the sinners. So what is fundamentally the sin? What is fundamentally a sin? A sin is to separate yourself from God as a different. If you separate yourself from God, then you are a sinner. Therefore, in this beautiful thing called Sanyavandanam, you say, I separated myself from you because of all these things I had to do associated with my body, associated with my mind, associated with my livelihood. And because those things have separated myself from you, I am offering you this love in the form of this water. Please accept this and redeem me so that I can be back to my original source and myself. This is what is called true confession. The rest of the confession is only for the mind to feel good for 2 minutes. I have dumped all my sins on the pastor. Now let me go back and commit more sins. Let me kill more people in the name of religion. Let me convert more people in the name of religion. Is God looking for numbers you have placed? How many people you have converted to your religion? Either it is Vishnus or Shaivites or Christians or Muslims. This problem is not just with one religion. This problem is in every bloody religion. In the history, we know that there are these great gurus, Vaishnavite gurus, that went villages to villages and converted the whole village into Vaishnavites by putting stamps on them. They did not belong to your bloody Vaishnavite religion or Christianity. Or why you are converting all these people? Why can't each individual have their own self journey, compelled by love and service for a human being, rather than dragging them into the same mud you are in right now? This is the real sin. Be yourself is the greatest punya. Therefore, what does the mantra say? Anabhoga paramrityum papas sanyanti sarvada abhogastveva sanyanti yatra punyakruto janah. Those that die with the knowledge of the self will attain the ultimate. Those that die without the knowledge of the true self will go to hell. That is hell. Lack of knowledge about who you truly are, that is hell. That is hell right here and now. You are living that hell, not knowing who you truly are. And that hell you are observing right now. The moment you know who you truly are, you will neither suffer nor will be elevated in happiness. Pleasure and pain will just be associated with something that you have to go through, but nothing to do with yourself. So that is the real heaven. And therefore, Jesus has said, the kingdom of heaven is within you, not up there somewhere that somebody is giving you a ticket to go to. That knowledge of self is within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. And therefore, when you have that, what will you do? Our Father, thou art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. What is that prayer about? Have you ever thought about what the Christianity prayer is about? The real sin is not living like the Son of the Heavenly One. So therefore, brothers and sisters, the problem is not about the prophecy, as Dikshit Mama always used to say. The problem is always with the prophet. The prophet did not understand what this prayer meant. Not only the prophet, the priest did not understand. The mullah did not understand. The rabbi did not understand. Even if they understand, they won't tell you what it is, because if once you understand, you will stop going to the church again. You will stop going to the temple again. So all this thing is to keep back. If there are no, if everybody is a healthy person, what is the need for a doctor? So therefore, it's in the selfish interest of a doctor that you will never want to cure anyone. Therefore, in the selfish interest of a pastor, they will never want to tell you what you should be doing to realize yourself and be actually in the kingdom of heaven right here and now. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us for our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation. The temptation is to judge other people, which is the evil. but deliver us from the evil. Because everything here and now and above and beyond, everything is here and now, and that is the true self-knowledge. In such a case, you will neither go nor come. You will be who you are. Jai Sai Ram. Any other questions? Repeated transgressions. Don't go for repeated transgressions. Don't go for repeated confessions. Be truly who you are, and that is love, and that is service. That is what it is at the essence of it. Nothing more than that. Jai Sai Ram. Any other questions? Okay. What's happening next week? Yes. What is next week? Oh, next week. 26th, we have the Devi Matya Parayanam. And so we'll meet again next Sunday on the 27th of the continuity of becoming aware of death. Jai Sai Ram. Okay.
Anna, so in relation to this line, Apanya Pada Kesha Saha will be born with whatever that the bodies which are, whatever this line says. So if we if we get punished in this lifetime under the judiciary system or anything, then how does that act upon our karmas? I mean, if we get punished for our sins, I mean, internal sins, okay, we only, I mean, the higher one knows about our internal sins, but if we have committed some outward leak sins and that gets caught and then we get punished, then are we redeemed from that, whatever, from this line?
Okay. So, for that equal and opposite reaction, once that is done, will it get erased and not accumulate? Is that the question?
Yes.
Yes. That's the reason why you say, Mama Upata Samasta Durita Kshedvar. To eliminate all those duritas that were already committed. So, durita is that which has been not in its place. That's what it means. So, those results that are, durita means is sins only. That is the literal meaning of it. So, you will decrease the count. Definitely, you will decrease the count. How do you decrease the count? Therefore, by filling those with whatever good actions that you do, virtuous actions you do, you balance those. But at the end of the day, don't engage in any action that will become a result of experience.
Right.
Just to do the action and not be attached to the result of it. Then what happens? There is nothing to sprout. Because the body, mind, and senses cannot be quiet, not engaged in action, not engaged in thought, not engaged in speech. So what you have to do the actions, the speech, and the thoughts only in the context of, to the extent possible, non-action in action, which is you are in action, but that doesn't result in further action. That is the essence of it. Yes, count goes down, you score points and you decrease. Yes. But that's not the goal of life either. Okay. The goal of life is let me erase everything. Now if you have the awareness that this situation that I have come to, or this thing that has happened to me is because of perhaps what has this body-mind complex had done in a past life, etc. That's a great awareness. Then what will you have? You will have titiksha. As Bhagavan gives 26 different things. The study circle today will start Gita Vahini. 26 different things associated with how to live a life in Gita Vahini. Then you will have all those characteristics built in. And therefore what will happen is your awareness will be much more forbearance and forgiveness. Forgiveness is exactly that. When you face a situation that is terrible or undesirable, etc., either to your body, mind, or to your beloved ones, the moment you think that this is an opportunity for me to forgive, that means to give scope for more love to flow in, and that will give you forbearance and forgiveness. Am I clear?
Yes, right.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions?
Sai Ramanna.
Yes, ma'am.
The last line of the 30th Panchati, Yadi ve etha sato grahan. So what does that mean, Anna? Like, are we going to know like what are the characteristics of sinners? Something like that?
Yadi, literally what it means is yadi vetha asato gruhan. That is not sato gruhan, that is asato gruhan. Asat gruha means unreal abode. Asat gruha. See, I don't want to give you only the literal meaning that would create more conflict in you. Yadi vetha. Vetha means I would like to know. I would like to know how is the abode of that asat. What is living an unreal life and what is living a real life? That is the inner meaning of that. I would like to know what is to have a home that is real. What is an unreal home look like? An unreal home is called a house. A real place is called home. Don't live in a house, live in a home. What is a home? 4-letter word, H-O-M-E. The center 2 letters are Om. And the first and last word are He. Live in a place where He is as Om. Otherwise, you will be in a house, like a mouse, rat packing, accumulating all the things for your life and trying to leave them for a future generation, which you don't even know what they will do with your money. Hello. This is, if you know this, then you will live a life that is complete already. I want to accumulate so that I will leave behind. That fellow doesn't even care what you acquire, don't acquire. Leave behind with them a real home, not a asat gruha. Leave behind for them a home filled with Om, where He lives. That is the reality. Are we tracking? Am I talking to what we call filling with all kind of philosophy, or is that real? Asat gruha. Sat means presence. Asat means lack of presence. Lack of presence to the reality, the real one. And that lack of presence to reality is asat. Griha means where you live. Yadi vetha asato gruhan. How does this unreal homes look like? 99% of the homes in America are unreal only. They are never constructed with real brick and mortar. It's all bloody wood. You can change the room however way you want. And then you are thinking you have a real home. It is not a real home at all. And then you have, because you don't even own it, some company gave mortgage. See how much unreality is built into the life. How much unreality is built into the life. You live in a place that is not a real home. It's not built with mortar brick and will not live for many years. 2, you think it's your, do you own or rent? And you put own, but truly you don't own. You are paying mortgage. And why you are paying mortgage? Because if you don't pay mortgage, then you'll have to pay more taxes. What will happen if you decrease your, you see, I can go on and peel layer by layer into how unreal a life we all live. And think that we are in a great country, the most powerful, the most this, the most that. This is all what is called Maya, nothing more than that. So come to reality, live in a real home. Yadi vetha sato gruhan. How does an unreal life look like? That's what he will answer Next, Pannastad Brahman Prabruhi. So he's asking, please elaborate to me, O Brahman, how does an unreal home look like? Okay, ma, you got it?
Thank
Saira.
you.
Yes.
Sairam Shikharji,
Yes, ma.
one question
Today I have a
about
darshan of Vadyar also. Where is it? Okay. Sairam. Yes, ma.
a couple of questions. So you were telling in the beginning about completing a thought, right? Bringing it to completion.
Hmm.
Could you just give a couple of examples on that? I'm still not sure. How do you complete a word, a thought, an action, bring it to completion? What is completion?
You have more time today. Okay. How do you come to completion? Okay. Practically speaking, 90% or more, if you are lucky, 90% of most of what we do, most of what we say, we are not aware of it. We become aware of it after fact. So if you have that awareness before you think, before you speak, how will that look like? 99% of the time you will stop speaking, by the way. You will go silent. That's why Chummairu is the greatest mantra of Bhagavan Ramana. Chummairu. Chummairu. Be quiet. Be quiet with what? Be quiet with your thought. Be quiet with your... Being quiet with your thought is the most unbelievable spiritual practice. That's why the great souls always practiced Mauna Vratam, silence, at least one day a week. But then, of course, they haven't stopped thinking because they'll write on a board and give it to somebody. There is no real silence. The real silence of the mind is the actual silence. So how do you complete with something? So this is the reason where this Karacharana Kritam, Vakkayajam, Karmajam va, Sravana Nainajam va, Manasam va, Aparadham, Vihitam, Avihitam va, Sarvametat Kshamasva, Jai Jai Karunabdhe Sri Mahadev Shambho. Kara, hands, Charana, feet, walk, speech, Kayajam, body, Sravana, hearing, Naina, seeing, Aparadham, all these mistakes that are made, Vihitam, knowingly, Avihitam, unknowingly. For all those things, I seek forgiveness from you, O Lord, who is existing in everyone. It's very difficult to doing this after retirement. Oh my God. After retirement, how much baggage you have to clear? So if you are able to do this every day, and the spiritual practice that Bhagavan taught, this body is every night before you go to bed, there is a beautiful prayer written by Swami. Now I am coming back to you to take rest in you. There is a beautiful prayer. And you chant that prayer. Before you chant that prayer, you just sit silently for a few minutes, play the whole day. From the time you got up till the time you are in the bed. If you are able to recollect and say, ask Swami as the guide, as the coach, it will be phenomenal spiritual life. Because he will tell you as you play the day, he says, stop. Here you did not speak correctly. Stop. Here you did not think correctly. Stop. Here you did not act correctly. Here you did act correctly, but you did not speak correctly. So then what happens? Enroll Swami as a coach. And you are playing the game on the basketball court. Every time you step out, he will become your Phil Jackson. Now you know how aged I am. And then you will become a Michael Jordan. Every time you play a game, you will score more points. And then all those points, you come and say, these points don't belong to me. Because in that good thought, you were there. In that good speech, you were there. In that good action, you were there. I was not the one that did that. In that ignoble thought, this body was there. This mind was there. For that, please erase. Then what will be life like? What will be life like? You get up in the morning, you have phenomenal amount of energy. One day is not 24 hours, it will be a week. And you are completely released from everything. And you will unleash this incredible potential within you. Otherwise, what happens? You go to bed with all this baggage. You have dreams about that baggage. And those dreams about baggage will be coming from your childhood. Suddenly you are running to examination hall. You are late for the examination. You are trying to enter the examination. Oh my God, where is my hall ticket? I didn't have my hall ticket. I'm sweating in the dream. What is all this? That means there is an impression that came from your childhood. And these impressions could be bad impressions, good impressions. They could be something that somebody had said to hurt you or even physically abuse you. All of that stuff will get erased. And you will become full, a clean slate. Every morning is a clean slate. Every evening is a clean slate. That is what is called coming to completion with every thought, word, and deed. Sorry, I took more time than needed. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's harder. It requires. That is the reason why you do all these prayers. This is the reason why you do all those things. Not to gain some merits in it. It's all about erasing bad things only. Chitta Shuddhi, Durita Kshayadvara. That is it. Durita Kshayadvara. You are not doing for accumulating any merit. You are only doing it for erasing what is not required. Then what happens? If you erase what you are not, then you will be who you really are. It's like the sculptor not making a new thing, but taking out what doesn't belong to that idol. Then Krishna will come through. When you remove what Krishna is not. Rama will come through when you remove what Rama is not. Ena Tambi, Soma, Nalla irkiya? Sorry, Paglam, all of you, all the best. We'll meet again on 27. So please, Samasta Durita Kshayadvara, please join this Devi Mahatyam Parayana. She is the one that will erase all this data. Mahamaya. She will erase all those data. Without her, the data will remain. She is the data. Hello, excuse me. Mahamaya is the data. The data that belongs to this lifetime and the data of all the species in all the worlds. She is the data. So once you erase the data, you don't have to pay iCloud, this Apple company, $10 for 2 terabyte space every month. See, it's a burden now. Data is burden. We are paying money to store what? All these stupid movies, everything coming from WhatsApp. Ayyo Rama, what kind of nonsense data we are accumulating? Gigabytes of data. Be free from Apple, Google, and all other Mahamaya storage of data. Jai Sai Ram. Okay, let's close with Swasti Mantra. Swastif prajabhyah paripalayantam Nyayena margena mahim mahishah Go brahmanebhyah shubhamastu nityam Samasta lokah sukhino bhavantu Samasta lokah sukhino bhavantu Samasta lokah sukhino bhavantu Om Shanti 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 Jai Bolo Bhagwan Shri Sat